How about you, loose monkey? You got your ears on?
I'm the one remaining loose monkey on the road. They still haven't captured me yet. It's clear shot all the way up to Canada. A little bit of congestion once you get to the border because of our American and Canadian drivers that are a little upset with some mandates on this Saturday morning. Timothy, you got your ears on?
Hey, Peterbilt, you got your ears on? How's it looking up here to the border?
Peterbilt's up here, I tell you right now. Well, a lot of flags flying, a lot of diesel smoking in the air, I can tell you that.
Hey, this is the Red Rooster. I'm hearing that there's no bears up to the border. I'm hearing that. Am I correct?
That is correct. They're ones that are up there kind of getting shooed away. They don't want them up there. Like Peterbilt said, got some Canadian, some American flags flying high. Everybody upset over this mandate.
Red Rooster. All right, thank you. Red Rooster out.
Make us believe.
So call me a man on a mission.
3 men on a mission. Welcome to the Shipsgonnhappen podcast. My name is Tony B. Alongside me as usual, David B. and Timmy D. Also, special guest Aaron Tutts is in the studio, the Shipsgonnhappen studio.
Good morning.
Good morning. We've got a convoy across the Canadian border. We'll discuss that. Carrier ethics with David B. and special guest Aaron Tutts. We'll have an interview with him and some good questions for him. Remember, we're just 3 Americans discussing topics that affect the transportation industry. Our views are only our views and do not express the views of any transportation provider or any entity that is a transportation provider. We do it for the transportainment.
Boom.
70 years experience covering topics. We do it for the transportainment. That's right, the transportainment. You can catch us on YouTube, Rumble, iTunes, and the podcast under the Business Entertainment, Twitter, and our home site, Shipsgonnhappen.com and SoundCloud.com. David B., good morning.
Good morning, producer Tony, on this snowy Saturday morning. I thought we were done with this shit for a little while, but nope, it's some light flurries going on today, and it's a little cold, a little blustery. We got Aaron Tutts in the studio, and today's show brought to you by The Great Divide, 743 East New York Street, downtown Indianapolis. It's there twice this week, consecutive nights, Thursday and Friday, and I don't remember a whole lot of either evening. Getting pretty ripped ass.
Oh, man.
They were good times, though. Timmy D and I got to see some plans that they might be doing an expansion coming up here when the weather gets warm, and it looks like a pretty good layout. So 743 East New York Street, The Great Divide, downtown Indianapolis. Great place to go for some music, some food, some beverages, and good place to kind of unwind after a Ship's Gonna Happen week. Timmy D, got a Butler game today, or what's going on?
I gave my tickets up, but there is a Butler game, 4:30 at the old Hinkle there. Had to give it up. Got to run the kids around for sports on a snowy Saturday, apparently. So
Okay.
Good to see you boys. Look cold out too this morning, I tell you.
It's a bit chilly, a little shrinkage
Big
going
Aaron
on.
T up in the house, boy.
Aaron
Hey, live
Tutts.
in person, he showed up.
In the studio, man.
Yeah.
What's
Glad
up,
to be
Aaron?
here, guys. Glad to be here.
So Aaron, give us a little history of, none of us, we talk often on this show. None of us
All the
have
time we talk on the show.
None of us set off to be in this industry as when we were, kind of making waves as young adults. So give us a little bit of background of what you've been doing in the industry and kind of where you were and where you're at today.
Sure. I started off at a manufacturing company and shipping their freight out the door on the bulk side. So now I'm graduated from that and moved on to the freight side at a 3PL. So I'm on the other end of the phone now. On the other end of the phone. So it's going to be a learning curve, but I'm excited to do it.
What were part of the issues? Like when you were working for that manufacturer, did you have issues with getting drivers, getting other bulk providers to come in and haul your freight? Or did things always did you already have like a good core of carriers in place?
Had a good core for a while, and then the pandemic and threw everything off, and had to scramble and learn it all a new way, and expand that Rolodex. That really helped a lot. So that was
one of the things you probably dealt with. Did you ever deal with any like foreign, like shipping overseas or bringing stuff in from overseas? Did you deal with any of that, either like container shipments or anything like that?
Export. No import experience, but I'm pretty good at exporting, I feel like, as far as the paperwork and arranging those shipments go. That can be a bear, but it's all about making the right connections, as you guys know.
So export and import, or just exports?
I was export.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not exporting crap right now going north, I can tell you that.
That's exactly right. Yeah, so that probably had to be some good learning, on the job learning, dealing with the bulk drivers, and then also dealing with exporting your product. So what is it now that you do at your new company? Are you just kind of, are you more analytical, or are you making connections with carriers and maintaining contracts and stuff like that?
Yeah, it's a new role, new world. Carrier relations is a key factor there.
You can't even handle your own relations. How the fuck are you managing carrier relations? Jesus.
Yeah, so it's a new world. I'm going to be doing some analytical work, as you mentioned, along with contracts and, a lot of compliance work. That's part of my title. So making sure that all their safety scores are in line with our requirements, and, checking that their insurance and all that stuff is legit, because we're, bringing on carriers all the time looking for new work.
So you're telling me you work for a 3PL and you're judging the people with the trucks?
Yeah.
That's what you just said, right?
I mean,
You are in a role as
sense.
a 3PL to judge someone with the assets. You're not good enough to have your own assets, but you want to judge someone else's?
There you go.
Is that what I'm hearing? Am I wrong?
Not judging. I'm just checking them out, making sure that
That's
they're
judging.
I wouldn't call it that. I wouldn't call it
What
that.
would you call it?
I would just
Judging. Go ahead and say it. You
a
can get it out.
criteria.
Let's go.
how about fact checking?
Fact check.
Fact check.
There's
we
a lot
went
of that.
there, huh? All right.
How about that?
So what's it like with these carriers today? Are you able to get what you need, and how's that working? Because we're backed up, right? So how's that working out as far as your carrier selections and that's going?
I'm on the training path right now, but I think that we're doing really well. I've seen some good numbers as far as some of the analytical stuff I've been doing. So they're definitely keeping up well, keeping that freight moving for our customers.
You got a fedora and a briefcase now when you go into work?
Yeah, I'm a little more snazzy than I once was.
Oh, there you go. Big
Little
Aaron
dressy
T,
dress.
a little snazzier than
You are working at a pretty big size 3PL. So yeah, I'm sure that that's some good experience for you, though. I mean, do you see yourself, Aaron? I mean, you've been in this for a little while. Do you see yourself staying in this profession for a bit, or is this not something you prefer to do till you retire?
No, I think I'm going to stick with it. I do enjoy the logistics side and supply chain of business. Every day is different, and I enjoy that a lot. I enjoy the ever-changing requirements and learning more and more. You learn something new every day. So, and I'm excited to, get in the driver's seat and start talking to these carriers and sales reps and working things out for the benefit of everyone. So I feel like I'm a good communicator when need be.
You are at a good company, and I know a lot of people that you're working with, and that is a good group of people. So you're going to learn a lot every day, and you've got a good support group behind you. So congratulations on landing that.
Yeah,
congratulations.
So,
Yeah, job hunt's over. Feels good.
right. Good deal. Good deal. It's good to have you in studio, and you're listening to the Shipsgonnahappen show. Got our guest Aaron Tutts in the
Aaron
studio.
Tutts.
So Aaron. I feel like even though Aaron's pretty much old enough to be my son. There's a lot of occasions where I'm like,
Who's not old enough to be your son?
I'm like, if you knew
there.
the history of Aaron, and I'm like, how many times I've bailed his ass out of so much stuff. I'm like, oh my
The Ship's
Lord.
Gonna Happen studio has a handicap parking
Jesus.
spot that you're able to get in. You qualify by age only.
Boom.
So how is this?
Shots fired.
How has the pandemic affected you guys?
Well, I was speaking for my my previous role.
job?
Yeah,
That's fine.
But I mean, we got slammed. A lot of the inbound work that was once covered was then on our plate to get that covered. So it was a scramble with that tight market, especially when I was dealing with was the bulk side, and that's from what I saw was even tighter than the dry goods side. So
Like getting imports in and stuff like that?
No, just like finding that equipment.
Okay, yeah.
In that industry, there's specialized equipment that you need and a lot of different requirements than, linking that to my new role, it would be, if we were in that industry, it'd be difficult to find all those requirements at such a readily available pace. And, I was doing that on my own. And looking at what my new company does, they have a team that does that. Right. So that says a lot right there. As far as how stressful that can be, You
have a team there, which says it's got to be a specialized industry to find the right people, right? I mean, if you're paying a whole team to find that equipment, you got to know that it's very exclusive out there. It's not every day. So every day, everyone out there that listens to the Ship's Gonna Happen show, you pass semis all day long. He's not talking about your standard 53-foot drive van that any Joe Blow can put freight on. He's talking about specialized semis for tankers and things that have special requirements. And we're not just talking about fueling trailers, but we're talking about in general that equipment has to hit so much to haul whatever product it was, right?
Yeah. Fittings, meters, pumps, clean, dry, odor free. I mean, you get that in trailers, but it's a different animal with the tankers.
Febreze.
So,
Yeah. Wow. So that's got to be not a big headache anymore that you have to deal with. So that's got to be relief.
Yeah.
And when it gets shoved off on someone else now, that person might get in a bad mood now that I.
Here you go. You probably need this.
So, in your new role with a 3PL, is your task just to do more of the standard drive van type of moves? Is it LTL? Is it truckload?
LTL, truckload, flatbed, small pack, everything in between. I don't think that they're doing any bulk that I've seen so far, but not to say that they won't or don't.
So have they grown? Did they grow through the pandemic, or have they? Do you know?
Not yet. No.
Okay.
I'm sure that they're onwards and upwards.
I think they have, because during the pandemic, didn't they open a facility out in Phoenix?
Yeah. Good point.
Okay. Wow.
Good point. Yeah. They're opening up some facilities. Yeah.
Attention.
So do you
Jesus?
So do you like this side of the business, or would you prefer to be on the bulk side?
I'm enjoying my new life, and I'm enjoying getting away
the
from
smile on his face tells me he thinks it's easier. in this
It's got to be less stressful.
Getting away from the bulk. Yeah. And like, as I mentioned, there was just a lot more on my plate in my previous role, where now it's individualized roles. It's separated out and it's more efficient. So that's enjoyable.
Yeah, but if you come across an opportunity for a bulk or something, do you just pass that information on, or is that something you can handle?
If need be, yeah, I'd be glad to step in and give my 2 cents on it. Sure. So
there you go.
Cross that bridge when we get there, won't we?
If we get there.
Welcome.
Well, speaking of bridges, no.
There's one clogged up.
Yeah, there is one clogged up.
So
we can get to McDonald's and get a filet of fish.
With no cheese, good luck.
No cheese.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, Aaron, welcome to the Ship's Gonna Happen podcast. Thanks for joining us today, man. It's nice to see you. And we usually do call-ins, and we got someone in the studio. It's pretty sweet, man. You got what's your favorite thing about trucking?
I think it'd be the ever-changing environment, the new challenges, and as I mentioned, no day's the same. So
yeah, I always said that in trucking, doctors, once they figure out what you have, they have a manual to go to and figure out how to solve it, right? Because they've been doing it for so long. And trucking, it's kind of ass backwards. There's no manual to start with,
right.
And every scenario is different, right? And I can imagine the 3PL, because you're just a middleman. Right, you're like a travel velocity when it comes to plane tickets, is how I like to describe it. So you're the middleman. You link them up with the carrier or the airline, but yet you really have no say. Will that truck will that truck show up? Will it deliver on time? You're kind of just sitting back, and you're on a limb, Yeah. And 3PL business has always been a risky. We had was it First Call Logistics on here at one point, the owner for First Call Logistics, and that's a tough business that he had started to start a 3PL, because you really got to have the relationships. You've got to have the carriers that you can trust to show up. And you got to be able to make the call to make sure they do show up. And then you got to make sure it delivers. And you have no control over that. You have no internal team that can control that. I mean, you're literally making the sell and walking away, washing your hands.
Going to have a lot of good reliability, right?
Yeah, but I mean, look, we talk about the 3PLs and how, I mean, what, C.H. Robinson's $80 billion or something crazy. So there's a lot of money to be had in the 3PL world. I mean, you're making your, whatever your profit is, your 10% or whatever per shipment. But if you got millions of shipments, this stuff adds up quickly.
I mean,
Absolutely.
as much as I hate to mention them, TQL's got a stadium. They have naming rights to a stadium in Cincinnati.
Right.
So
it's always surprised me, though, with the 3PL, like you mentioned earlier, Tim, that you'd think they would get some of their own equipment, right? And handle some on their own.
Yeah,
but
we do. We do.
You do have some? Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah. I would imagine that they would want to have some equipment, maybe not be heavy asset based, but to have some
More light asset.
Yeah, have some light assets.
the company Aaron's at now, thinking about it, is probably one of the only 3Ps in the Indianapolis area that have their own trucks.
That have
Most
their
of
own.
them, First Call doesn't,
See, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
If I got into space, I don't think I would want my trucks. I mean, that's the benefit of being it. You don't want that. I mean, look at the guy out in Denver, right? We haven't even talked about that on this show with the
Right.
guy in Denver that got in that accident, right? I think
No
I
luck
want
trucking.
to. I want to distance myself from being part of that asset base to release my liability.
Right.
I'll argue for you with the carrier on the liability of the shipment. I'll argue this, but I don't want to worry about the DOT scores that you got to go through. Make sure that they qualify for that. You got to make sure. Customers are real picky about some of their driver. Who's this driver? Where'd he come from? Right. This is not your normal driver. Well, as a 3PL, you don't give a damn. You just want it picked up.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's when I come in, man. That's why I'm the fact checker, the judger, as you say.
Yeah. You're always judging somebody.
Always
The
judging.
judge. Well, man, cool. You're going to stick around, right, and get into some topics with us then?
Absolutely.
All right.
Got
You
nowhere
don't
else
have
to
no
be.
way to go. I'm the one that brought his
David
ass here
brought
this
his
morning.
ass.
So
You want to do the Freedom Convoy first?
sure.
All right, let's
go.
get into the Freedom Convoy. All right, Tony B here with you. The Freedom Convoy, which is going on day 12 or something like that up in Canada, where the truckers have kind of created and assembled and kind of shut down the Ambassador border there. And if you don't know what that is, that's the bridge that connects Detroit to Canada, Windsor, Canada. And it's about 23, they say, everything I read, 23 to 28% of northbound Canadian freight. It's currently still shut down. The premier, I think that's what he's called, of Canada, Trudeau, had stated that he gave him a deadline of 7 p.m. last night, or arrests were going to begin to happen. As of now, it doesn't seem to appear that they've arrested anyone, but in looking at it, it would be thousands of people, right, that have assembled. So as of right now, there are none. I'll keep an eye on it today. But they've and it's a protest about mandate and freedoms and things like that. So, and I think Timmy D mentioned last week that America's going to begin one, and we had a senator in America that's kind of promoting it, wanting them to assemble. So,
Did we?
Yeah, Rand Paul is telling
shocking.
American truckers,
What a
if you want to
surprise.
get together because you can express your freedom. So, not taking a side here, but we do have the right to assemble, right, peacefully. So, and it looks like in everything I watched, it looks like these people are freely assembling under peaceful protest. So, putting a little pressure. Some Canadian, just to give you an update. And I don't know Windsor's the only, or not Windsor, Ontario. Or,
I like Windsor. Great casinos.
some of the
and other items
provinces
up there.
Yeah, it's a nice town. It's a good time.
It is.
You get Cuban cigars there. Oh, yeah. So can't bring them across back to the border though, or they'll get in trouble.
Or can you?
Yeah.
Or can't. Yeah, exactly. Maybe you can.
and that Vaseline go up there. You
Yeah,
might be
there
able to
you
get
go.
them
Hey,
across.
Vaseline. That's a good song. You ever hear that song? So we have a couple of the provinces have lifted their mandates in response to this. So looks like this thing's going to continue to go on for a while. You got anything with that, Dave?
So the Prime Minister of Canada, so he doesn't have, I'm just wondering out loud, whatever he says doesn't supersede those other provinces, obviously, then? Or
I think it's kind of like the states are in America, where they, you have states
Okay.
here that have gotten rid of the mandates, and you have states that won't. But it's the government. Basically, it's like us, really in a nutshell. The states are franchises to the government, right?
Okay,
So and they can write their own rules within reason.
So I would add they're definitely sticking to their guns on this. They're not giving up.
They are.
Every weekend. I think the weekends are heavier, obviously, when they try to do more of the protest stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's an ongoing thing, and I got to give them credit for sticking their ground. Whether you agree with what they're doing or not, I got to give them a lot of credit for standing ground.
Well, yeah.
We're tired of this stuff.
Well, it is, and what's weird about it is you had people protesting a summer ago, right? A couple summers ago, and burning down buildings and stuff, and it seemed like the media called those peaceful protests. Mm-hmm. They're not violent. They're just been caged up for a while. But like you said, I think people are just tired of it and they're done with it. And
we had sent a driver up on a bulk run about right before this.
Aaron, tell us about the bulk run. No, go ahead.
I don't give two shits about Aaron and his bulk run. So we had sent a bulk driver up there to Canada for 5 dropper right about when this was getting ready to start. And I wish that he would have seen some of this or could have been not necessarily a part of it, but just come back with a story or two on what the conversation. I'd love to get a Canadian driver on sometime soon.
Yeah, we can do that.
I'm trying.
That'd be awesome. Yeah.
We'll reach out. We'll
we have to steer him away from the hockey conversation, I'm sure. But
yeah,
right.
Well, it's funny because
a lot of national sport.
It is. A lot of them have their hockey gear on, Tim. If you look into the crowd on the live streams, they have their Montreal Canadiens or jerseys on, and some.
I wonder if any of them have maybe some derogatory comments about Trudeau. Maybe.
Well,
maybe not.
There was a truck that had some explicit things on it all over the back of the trailer that said, "Hey, Trudeau, go."
Some naughty words.
Yeah, a little naughty.
So, breaking news this morning: same things happened in Paris, France.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, I heard that.
I didn't see
Just
that.
come out. They apparently they just hired they got 7,800 officers that's pulling people over and giving them tickets right now. So, you knew it was going global.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, because it's in other countries too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Paris, France, right now.
Timmy D's got
Paris,
some puberty
France.
issues this morning.
Yeah. You got to have something in life.
So wait a minute. So to explain that to me. So they're just like being parked and they're giving them tickets.
They were all headed down to Paris, France,
Like the
the
downtown
capital.
area. Wow.
Yes. And so they had all these cops pulling them over, and so I was reading, and this morning is basically saying you have the right to protest, but you don't have the right to impede traffic, is what they're saying. So they're giving them tickets for impeding traffic. So that's the France government coming out and saying that, but that's just happened, started today.
Yeah.
Wow. That's only going to piss them off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's going to make Germany and probably some other countries.
New Zealand started one too.
Oh,
I mean, the reason that this is getting the Canadian border crossing is getting so much traction and so much media is because, they're being strategic. It's a small number of people when you think about it, but they're picking the big border crossings.
Right.
They're only doing one or two,
Ambassador
but they're the big ones. They're affecting the big industries. And that's why
the automotive industry.
Yeah, right out of Detroit.
Ford shut down and Toyota shut down. Is what they're saying.
So it's causing a lot of that. So
They got nowhere to go with it.
I don't know.
Again, what do you always say every opening show? For the products that we enjoy,
Straight to your
every
Dr. Door.
person that gets anything in life comes in on a truck somehow. And if you piss off that crowd, you piss off them damn truckers, you done pissed everything else off. So
Yeah.
you can blame it on anything you want, but it's good to see people rally together and understand this is an industry. I feel like if you're not in it, which is it's a huge industry, we talk about it being a fraternity and whatnot, and it's such a big and large industry that if you're not in it, you don't realize.
Right.
But everyone that is in it is feeling the pain.
Yeah.
Is feeling the pain.
It's difficult not to meet somebody in logistics anymore. Anybody I
Right.
talk to, yep, I do this, or I'm part of logistics this way or that way. So a lot of people involved in this.
Well, we think about there's a lot of service embargoes here just locally in the States because of the capacity issue. The only way to do it is to embargo some things to free up capacity.
Right.
Yeah, we're gonna kind of get on that topic with underneath my little discussion topic
David's
this
topic,
week.
yeah.
So
And the damn 3PLs, Aaron, I tell you, you guys just keep
What do you
tying
want
up
from us?
capacity.
He'll be blaming the no Canadian freight on me and you, Tim.
I know, I
Some
know.
damn truckers got it backed up. But because we're having issues. I have some shippers that go to Canada, and we've had delays, and we've been putting out messages about expected delays. So, but hey, man.
We'll see how long this thing
deal with
goes. Well, I just read it was the third weekend that they're on to this, so
Keep going.
At
stand
some
your
point,
ground.
they gotta wear down. You would think, right? They're losing money every single day. So
Well, they're getting funded, right?
Now.
Go Send Go, and then
go fund me.
Well, no, they GoFundMe got shut down and they're under investigation. They're not getting their money through there anymore.
What did they do? Give all the money back to whoever donated?
They said what happened was the police chiefs in those provinces got with GoFundMe to stop the funding. So GoFundMe said we're going to give that money to whoever we want, and then Florida launched an There's like 7 or 8 states launched an investigation into GoFundMe. So then now another nonprofit, Go Send Go, I think popped up, and then they've been funneling. They took the truckers' gas away. Have you heard this story? The police confiscated it.
Yeah,
and then they inspected the gas, and there's a lot of water in the gas.
what?
Yeah, somebody kind of put some water in the gas, so they don't know. They don't know how they done that. But then the police have come back and give them their gas back. So, they confiscated it, and then they were ordered by a judge to give it back. So, and then they did. They couldn't confiscate it. But
This world's crazy.
it is.
Sure is.
It is.
How are they going to
man.
leave if
It
they don't have any
is.
gas?
You got to let people have their freedom.
So
or it's
I
gonna
heard
be
that they had
crazy.
called in tow trucks to start dragging these trucks out, and the tow trucks joined.
Bingo. They refused. Yeah.
They said, "All right, thanks for calling us in. Appreciate you, but we're just going to park with them."
This
How's
is a
that
good
sound?
place to park.
yeah. Let's see how these drivers are doing. Let's hang out with them.
Yeah, man, that's good stuff though.
But yeah, that picture. The reason we were referring to I shared a picture with these guys.
Yeah.
Of the bridge, the Windsor Bridge, basically the Canadian Detroit Bridge up there, and it's just smoked with trucks. I mean, all up and all over the bridge and everything. And the big thing is the arch of the McDonald's sitting right there.
Right at the
Like,
bottom.
can I get a fish fillet? You think I can get in there?
it's probably out.
And,
Can I get an ice cream sundae?
And I'm like, I know that they can't get you a McFlurry because that machine's always
Yeah.
broke.
Exactly. Yep.
Well, the
Broken.
family that owns the bridge,
I was just going to ask about that.
they said they're on the trucker side.
well, sure that.
They said
Yeah.
we know why, right?
Yeah, because he owns a trucking company.
Yeah. So he
Oh, he
said,
does?
yeah.
Central Transport.
Really?
Yeah. He the original passed away recently. But yeah, the family still owns it. But he said, if you want to end this, end the mandates. And then the Prime Minister of Canada didn't agree with that. So
Yeah. Because the Prime Minister of Canada said it's just a small group of
a rogue group of racist.
Did he use the word racist?
He said they're racist, bigots,
Whatever.
misogynist. Yeah, and in these videos I'm watching, it's not what I see. So, but if they're going to arrest people, they're going to have to arrest thousands. I don't think they have enough jailhouses to put these people.
think
in.
of that's a big diversity group, and especially Canada. Canadian truck drivers are from all walks of.
David, thank you for saying it, because there are blacks,
There's
there are
Sikhs.
Indians, there are French, there are white people, brown people, blue people. Yeah, I saw somebody with a rainbow afro walking down the street. They did their
They're in New Pal?
No, in Canada.
Oh,
In Canada.
okay.
In
Out
Canada.
the ship's going to happen studio
Oh, wait.
window.
Canada.
Canada?
Yeah.
Canada.
Canada.
Was it a boot? Canada?
Had it all spiked. And then had the flag colors. in
You
their-
sound a little
in their hair.
jealous. Like you
I
want to try that out.
Man, if I tell you what, if I could grow an afro, I'd have the biggest afro in the world, and I would have like the city skyline of Indianapolis carved out in it.
City
Nice.
skyline.
Oh, that's a great idea. How much freight?
Could you
you get?
imagine?
How much freight would you get doing that?
Hey, I don't
Where
know.
do we drop him
I
off?
can tell you right now.
Timmy D, do we drop him off at 38th in Illinois? Or
I
what part of-
guarantee you it'd be a
part of town?
conversation starter.
22nd.
It'd be a conversation starter for sure.
All right, we ready to get into David's ethics with carriers. David B, hit us with it.
This has always grinded my gears over all these years. Anyway, it's just the predatory carriers that don't have shit anyway, and then when the big carriers have embargoes going on locally, they'll just come at you and be like, oh, so and such have embargoes this week. We'll handle your freight.
Yeah.
Well, no, the fuck you won't, because you can't handle what you got now. So how are you going to handle the additional freight? That just bothers the heck out of me. Just the predatory carriers that think that, oh yeah, Roadrunner, all of a sudden they're going to be able to handle 12 skids on 12 different bills and deliver it on time. You can't handle 2 skids delivering that on time. It's just always something over the years. This isn't something new. that when there are certain embargoes, that just there's those predatory carriers that just, and they keep at you, like emailing, hey, we're going to see more freight today. Nope. No, you're not. No, you're not. We'll wait out the embargo and give that carrier XYZ or whatever. We're just going to keep giving them freight. It's just one of the things. I know it's their job to sell and to get business going their way, but I'm just not a fan. I've always hated that part.
It's always, yeah, man, I was always trained to never like try to capitalize on the demise of somebody else unless, you have a different conversation about that than hey, they're having issues or this or that. So, but I think that Tim and I deal with that all the time. So
I'm curious how the 3PL handles it, Aaron. Have you seen
That's a good question.
Some issues on your side, and what do you guys do? How do you switch?
Well, I always would say to Dave, why not just give it all to one company?
Could you imagine that?
Yeah.
Simplize that freight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why don't we give all of our? Why don't we give all of our
3PL
freight
man just changed. So let me ask you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Big ideas.
All right, here you go on your philosophy. Give it all to one. So let's say he gave all the freight to you and your 3PL.
Okay.
Then how do you divide it up? Do you
Good
use
question.
one carrier or do
Good
you divide
question.
it up?
Well, back in the day, I was more suggesting like, why not give it all to
FedEx.
It doesn't matter what I'm saying.
get those
Insert carrier here.
get those trailers docked, get them out in your lot, back them in with your yard dog, load them up, call the carrier, say, come pick it up.
So
Wham, bam.
What do you do as a
Your yard
3PL?
dog.
Efficiency.
Though? You got all your eggs in one basket? You have all your eggs in one basket as a 3PL?
No.
No, that's my point.
Yeah.
You don't ever want all your eggs in one basket.
Playing devil's
Then
advocate
Aaron
here.
calls back and says, hey, man, they got embargoes going on. It's damn
Hell
carriers.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
Yeah, I think you have to. when
Maybe
you're-
Dave knows
when
a
you're-
thing or two every once in a while.
When you're shipping that kind of volume that a David B does, or even as a 3PL, and as much as you handle, you can't have all your eggs in one basket. And a lot of companies do things different. It may be a 1 day here, maybe a 2 day on them, right?
Yeah.
They offer different service levels. I think that you've got to be strategic sometimes when you're dividing up your freight on who you're going to use on what lanes. I think some people do lanes better than others.
Strategery.
And I don't agree with the one company. As much as I'd love to have all of David B's business on our trucks, or a lot of other customers, I think you got to, when you're in that role, to split it up. I mean, do you choose for your company? Do you choose for the companies that work through you guys? Do you choose their asset base? Do you say you're going to use X, Y, and Z carrier?
As part of my role, no.
No, you just sign a contract with them to negotiate the rates and then let them choose?
those are established, and I input them. I'm make
when
sure
I-
everything's in line.
When I first got in this industry, a lot of people did use one carrier. And then what happened was it seemed like the early 2000s, it started to shift where you might have somebody's all their freight. And then the economy people started to diversify it into other carriers because when CF went out.
September 2002.
Yeah, when CF went out is when people went, whoa, wait a minute, that's like the second or first largest carrier at the time in the nation. And then people were like, whoa. And then people got trapped with freight all over the country. And then people were like, I can't do that anymore. Because I had people come to me where I worked and they were like, hey, I'm going to have to break it up. So we saw some splitting start to happen. So I think that's when it began, if it hadn't already. But on your side of the fence, how did that affect you? Did you start to make decisions like that? Or?
We've always been really diverse in our, using, these states for this carrier, that states. We've always had a big diverse carrier pool. I think now it's a lot tighter knit than it was. It pretty much have about 4 or 5 and that we use. And then the other day, when this embargo was going on, we basically gave it all to one carrier, and then I ran out of pro books.
Oh yeah, damn, yeah,
Have the driver
So
do it.
because you weren't ready to put all that volume on that one person, right? So you didn't think you needed the pro books, right?
Yeah,
pro books.
but yeah, sons of bitches.
I know.
So anyway, but now the embargo's like later this week. I expect the embargo to get lifted, and so I'm already starting to reroute stuff back with those other carriers. So
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
But someone like you that has that availability, you didn't have to panic when whomever carriers came to you and said, hey, we can't do this, because you already had them in line.
Yep.
There's a lot of carriers or a lot of companies that didn't have that in line.
Right.
What are they going to do?
Call a 3PL.
Oh, really?
Oh, hey.
Call it 3PL, and then you got to dictate who it goes to, right? And then they got to they got to wish in one hand, and
Who are your? I don't know. Are you in it enough to know who your biggest
Your core
carriers
carriers?
are? Because if you say Central and Roadrunner, I'm going to punch you in the face.
Nah,
wow, we got punching in the face on the Ship's Gonna Happen show. Tune in for next week when we see the black eye.
Yeah.
no, you guys are grilling me a little too hard for my new position here, but
Okay.
I
Aaron
don't know.
Tutts.
I don't
You
know
don't
the
know
big.
your core carriers?
I don't know the big dogs at the moment. No.
No, it's
All the
right.
judging you do, you don't know who passed the test the most.
No.
The reason I asked him that earlier is because some of us withdrew some of the 3PL stuff we were doing because we couldn't handle all the volume. We had to go back and dial it down to our local.
And that's an
paid
easy
customers.
shave, right? If you shave the 3PL business as an asset base, because they're not doing business direct. And now you piss off the 3PL, you don't necessarily want to lose that business, but I think the 3PL will always come back.
Yeah.
Because 3PL is always searching for more carriers, right?
Mm-hmm.
They got to have the assets. They need the assets. So if you shave the 3PL business, go direct with who you've got. And then you got, I had people last week that were complaining about, hey, this person pulled you or did this. And I'm like, well, do you want to talk direct?
Yeah, right.
And they're like, why do they do this? Well, you got to talk to them. You need to talk to them. Then let's talk
Right.
one-on-one, however you want to do this. So I think, 3PL, again, you have no skin in the game. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant business
Popping
model.
up all the time.
I had dinner with a broker 3PL last night, and they were gunning for my LTL, and I said, I'm not going to give you my LTL, and I guarantee you, and I bet that I can better your price than what you're
Have
getting.
you ever had, thank God for you saying that, David, God bless you. But let me ask you this. Have you ever had anybody go above your head?
all the time.
Really?
And so, I call that the fox running the hen house, where they're going to come. No, seriously, they're going to come to me and be like, oh, this company in Indy called Hang'em or whatever. They say they say that they can better our price, and I'll always artificially inflate those prices, no matter what they are. I always bump them up, say, here's the rates that I gave me, and here's the rates I can get.
Yeah.
It's a fox running a hen house. I'm dead serious. That happens, but it's
Smart.
never. I can always better that.
Right.
Always.
Well, you got aggressive when you got buying power like that. You can, I don't know what it does to behoove you to do that unless you need storage or warehousing or something like that.
And that's where the 3PLs come in, the buying power. They've got so many and so much diverse of freight, right? They got the packing bubbles over here, and then they've got the bricks over here, right? So they can help out with by mixing the freight together. The mix that they can get can help negotiate contracts better with the asset based carriers. So I'm sure, Aaron, you're gonna, as you get more in your role, you'll start learning all that. Does your company offer a TMS for your customers?
Yeah, we do. We have an interface. Yeah,
Right, which is huge for a lot of customers, because then it saves them time from going to website to website.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Automates
that's
it.
a big seller. Do you guys do their bill of ladings for them?
Yep.
You do all that.
Yeah.
So you
Customer
audit
service.
it all for them too,
Do we audit it?
like the invoices and
Yes,
things.
yeah.
So that's huge. Again, it's tough to find a traffic manager anymore because they've cut that job, because company thinks it saves them money by cutting out that $40,000 to $80,000 job. They think it's saving them money because they can go to a 3PL. Well, 3PL's got to make their money too.
Yeah.
Right. So how much money are you saving at the end of the day?
Do you mean I can go somewhere and get a job for $40,000? I didn't know that existed.
Yeah, there you go.
Son
But
of a
Tim, you bring
bitch.
up a good point. I had a customer one time on the east side of Indy. Sold a product to Home Depot, right? Built a new building to ship it out of and everything. And he forgot one thing. It's funny. He's a genius. He sold the propane lockers. So Home Depot wanted them in their stores because you could just scan it, and you scan your receipt at the thing and it pops it open, and you put your old one in or your new one. It asks if you got a new one or an old one, put it in here, a new one pops out. And his name was Tom. He's no longer with us, God rest his soul. But he called me and he said, man, I got these lockers and I need to ship them out to these 4,000 Home Depot stores. And I was like, wait a minute, you can't ship them all out right away. He just didn't think Tom, your doc's not, what? How are we going to get it? We can't back into your building and pick it up that way because can't load it all the way in. He's like, son of a gun. So this guy's so genius, but forgot the basic shipping elements of I got to get a truck to pick it up, and I can't take it to 4,000 home. I don't know if it's 2,000 or 4,000. I can't remember. But he's like, I can't. I go, you have to do it regionally, man. You can't, you need to go back to them. So I got our Home Depot guy in with him, and then they finally figured it out. It took I think 9 months to get these all out.
Boom, here comes the baby.
Oh yeah.
So this supplier, this one supplier used one carrier.
Yeah,
that was his plan.
He used one carrier that had a unique relationship with the Home Depot.
You guys should see the smile on Aaron's face.
Yeah,
right
Aaron's
now
like,
with the
I am
one carrier.
right. I am right.
But anyway, that's interesting.
Freight 101 is what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely.
It's great to have all these plans, but it's still freight is freight. It's not brain surgery. It's pretty daggone simple. Point A to point B, but you got to have that in line before you can do anything else.
Yeah, you got to think those things through, man. You can invent whatever you want, but you got to figure out how to ship it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
you got to have a driver to do it,
Yeah.
which is tough nowadays.
if
You know,
you're going to Canada, good luck.
You are listening to the Ship's Gonna Happen
well,
show.
speaking of Canada, I think Canada age is 18 years old, right, for a CDL.
You can drive, up there.
Which they're still discussing. And
Man, there's some videos on YouTube on both sides of the fence on that.
Yeah.
Man, there's some people passionate about
Not doing it. Really, I need to look at that.
Oh, yeah.
What is their objections to it? You just think
They're
too
that young. It's too young
okay.
and stuff. And then also, there's that group also is saying that there's not a driver shortage. We're finally getting paid the way we're supposed to be getting paid now in their mind.
Yeah.
That they don't
I
need
think they need
additional
more
drivers.
pay, but
Yeah, pay them better. Yeah, I mean, they're testing it in America, right? So
is it California? You can be 18, right?
in state now, they're
In-state,
saying
right?
you can
They're
be
trying it out.
18, yeah, and there's schools popping up all over to educate you, and then in high school.
So here's one side. Last night I was thinking about this, that, there used to be trade schools for machine shop stuff. What's the difference between a machine shop operator being I mean, I know you're only affecting one life there if something goes bad, but, operating heavy equipment or machinery is bad, just as much bad as.
Yeah, but if you got a shop class that would teach you the ins and out of the semi itself, the air brakes and the lines and the DOT test, and the pre-check, the post-check, and the ins and outs, so that when that driver, that teenager gets in the vehicle when he's allowed or she's allowed at that age, they already feel comfortable with the equipment. I think the equipment itself scares a lot of people. It scares a lot of people to be behind all that. Exactly. So if you're comfortable in there, now you're no longer intimidated,
Yeah. A while back, you guys had an episode talking about that, like recruiters coming into high schools and starting them early. I think that's where it needs to go, because it is a good career. It is a profitable career.
I mean, look at No Luck. I mean, look at him and Matt and Liz. Kind of
got out of debt.
Yeah, started at nothing, even in the negative part of it, and now they're.
And Jacinda's doing it to see the world. I mean, you check her Instagram out, and she's at an ocean in Florida. She's at a lake, a river, right?
She had the funniest shirt on yesterday. There's a picture of her coming out of the bathroom stall with the "I pooped today" shirt on. Oh, I laughed so hard. I know it doesn't say, it sounds kind of juvenile, but I'm like,
But that's
so
someone
funny.
who truly loves what she's doing, right? She loves what she's doing.
Matt and Liz get to travel together.
Yep.
Right? Think about that.
Husband and wife.
Which could be tough in a small cab, but I mean, they get to travel together, see what America has to offer.
Yeah. I mean, look at Adrian. Adrian was, how you got to work hard.
Right. You gotta
work hard and keep at it.
You're listening to the Ship's Gonna Happen podcast show. My name's Tony B. We had a little bit of a software update issue that automatically got into the program, and we had to end it a little bit early. So my apologies to Aaron Tutts as well, who is our special guest today. You're listening to the Ship's Gonna Happen podcast. We will catch you next week. Have a safe week, and all you drivers get home safe to your family. Thank you. Ship's Gonna Happen podcast is out.